Hey, it's Steve Kyler and Stephen Brotherston. It's HOOPSWORLD TV. Now, Stephen, in addition to the Raptors, you also cover the Cleveland Cavaliers for us. And, I know you've spent a lot of time looking at this Cavs team here in the preseason. I think it's easy to say Kyrie Irving is the real deal as they come. But as you look at this Cavalier team, I kind of look at them and say maybe they've got that great mix of, veteran and young guy and veteran coach that if it all comes together, they could be the dream killer in the East. Am I reaching a little bit too much on the Cleveland Cavaliers, or are we looking at a team that's maybe being underrated just because they're not one of the dominant teams right now in the East?
Well, they're definitely a team that's under development. They've got so many young pieces that could progress faster than we think, but it's a tough call. They're really relying on Tristan Thompson to make that huge leap. Not having Jamison scoring this year is a massive hole that someone has to fill. Irving's going to be good, but are they going to replace what they lost is the really tough question.
You mentioned Tristan Thompson. They also, Tristan was the guy 2 years ago that everybody went, Tristan who? And this year it was Dion Waiters. Does this team seem like they see something in these guys that maybe the rest of us didn't see, or are they reaching, hoping to get something great? Because so far in preseason, Dion Waiters has been as up as he's been down. He's been wildly inconsistent. That was Tristan Thompson's resume. Is this maybe a little bit of gambling on Cleveland's part?
I'm sure they wouldn't call it gambling, but from the outside, it sure looks like a gamble. If they didn't take the safe picks. I really think that's, from a team perspective, going after the guys you really want and ignoring everyone else's opinion is the way you got to go. If you're going to build your team around what other people think is good for you, you're probably not going to do well. It is a gamble, but I think they made it as an informed choice. It's what they wanted.
Now, the Cavaliers did pick up the contract option on Byron Scott. We know he's going to be secure into next year. Is that a smart decision? I always kind of look at Byron Scott and I think about how he was in New Orleans, just really struggled with young players and some of the immaturity that comes with young players. And I look at this roster and I'm going, boy, did he sign on for another year of purgatory with young guys as they struggle? Is this what the Cavs need, a structured kind of guy like Byron Scott, or are they maybe hitching themselves to maybe wrong coach for the wrong team?
Well, based on what he did last year, he did a nice job until they decided they didn't want to push for the playoffs and they traded Raymond Sessions away and took away a desperately needed backup point guard to make any kind of noise last year. They had performed really well for him. I think the young players respect him. He works really hard in the preseason, in the training camp, to get these guys respect, and I think it boils over into the season. He seems to have changed. He seems to work well with this young group.
Okay, now let's put the GM hat on for a minute. You get to run the Cleveland Cavaliers. Are you going to put this group on the floor for 82 games and see how good you can be? Or are you going to start looking into the marketplace and going, what does an Anderson Varejao get me? What do some of these younger guys get me? Or what can I get with some of the cap space? Are you going to try to work this through? You think the Cavs work this through? Or do you think they're a team that's going to be poised to maybe make some more moves to try to keep building around this young core led by Kyrie Irving?
They're definitely in place to make more moves. But I believe Cleveland fully understands their only chance to add star players is through the draft. This year isn't about playoffs. It's to get that next guy who could be their next star player.
All right, Cleveland Cavaliers, do they make the playoffs? Do you think they're strong enough to be a postseason team, or do you think this is another year of let's get the young guys some minutes, let's get another draft pick?
This is another development year. Those young guys are going to play a ton of minutes. That's what they need to do. They've got to, guys like Tristan Thompson, Kyrie Irving, Waters, they got to develop. This is their future.
There you go. He is Stephen Brotherston. I'm Steve Kyler. This is HOOPSWORLD TV.